All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm so excited for everybody to be here. We're having a wonderful field trip today at 4. We have treats, we have guests, we have Jessica today. We're going to be talking about seniors placement and the professionals of seniors placement. Jessica is special to this industry for this reason, so I'm going to let her go ahead and get started.
Yeah, I was just telling Julie, I never really did a presentation before like this, so I'm gonna share my screen. I did do a little PowerPoint, but I honestly want this to be like super informal, very casual, and just definitely like a Q&A, and just ask a question anytime you want. I was 20 years I did in home care. I was a marketer in home care. I was a top producer. I slayed in home care. And I just got into the business in just I was at the right place at the right time. It was like a perfect storm. I didn't even know what a caregiver was. I didn't know people had caregivers go into their homes. I was 30 years old. That's when I first learned about hospice, which I feel very fortunate. And but like I said, it was a new company, and caregiving was evolving at the time, and we were like one of the first care management model companies. And this was in the beginning when you actually really had a care manager, and geriatric care management really meant something back in the day. It was something very elite. I got a tremendous sales training, and I grew up with the company, and I have seen a whole industry just grow rapidly, and kind of just, it's still there, of course, but it's nothing
No
like.
sound. Why doesn't this have sound?
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
So I'm going to share
Chris checked it yesterday.
my PowerPoint now. I don't even know how to get this on a full screen. I hope this is okay. Can you guys see this?
You got it. Yep.
I mean, did I say yesterday? Last week. You
So
couldn't figure it out.
does somebody have to be like muted, or
Yeah, somebody need to go on mute.
shut them down, Shelley?
Shelly, you shut yourself down. You're on mute.
You talking? Not.
Shelly, you're on mute. I mean, Jessica.
I'm off. Okay, now I'm off of mute. Okay. So trust is the new transparency.
Jessica, if
yes.
you use a slideshow and do slideshow, we will see a full screen.
I did try to put it, but when I did that, it didn't do that, and I'm afraid to like not do it again. Is it under view?
Yeah, if you go slideshow and do that, then we will see a full screen instead.
This is like that.
Uh,
Is that helping?
that helps a little, but it's not a full screen. But you're still on view mode, so that's why.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time trying to get.
That's okay. I don't want to take much time
Okay.
there. Now it's okay because we can see that without all the left side that you had earlier. That's fine. We can see it. Yeah.
Okay, great. So trust is the new transparency is the new trust. And a lot of businesses were built by hiding information. I'm the expert, come to me, I know everything. And when you come into like the ecosystem of the senior care space or senior living, it's not. It's multi-layered. People are in different stages of their lives and needing in different resources. And then we'll get into that. Let me get down. So I kind of have to go back this way. I'm so sorry. Just to get the screen back. Does that help? Can you guys see that? Are you seeing the screen? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So so the way I had done it was what I realized is that senior living, senior care, home care, it is such a fragmented world. And when you think about what like position, most of the people here, if they're real estate, you're one part of the process because you have the family that you're dealing with. There might be some other legal or financial professionals. There might be some medical professionals. It's a very fragmented, it's a very fragmented industry in that sense. So what you want to be is you want somebody that's very trustworthy and coming off a very transparent. And one of the key words that you're going to hear a lot in this new era of senior living and senior resources is that you want to become a concierge. Care navigation is very complicated. And it's not getting much easier. But what we're starting to see is how we're separating ourselves from other people, and some very key words that you're going to start seeing that are emerging is that concierge word. And Julie, you gifted me a book that really resonated with me. I really appreciate it. It was The Stage Is Not Ages by Marie Golden, I think, or Susan Golden. And she is a professor or somebody that's in like Stanford, and like what she was saying was basically what I'm saying. It's echoing, is that it's a very fragmented world. And so if you can come up and you can elevate yourself as a care concierge and separate yourself from others, then you're one step ahead of everybody else. And how we do this is we get partnerships and referral sources, and then we'll also become a referral sources for these other companies or people that are catering towards the senior market, senior living, financial advisors, you have this real estate. But basically what you want to do is you want to be connected with those trusted advisors, and you want to be seen as a trusted advisor. So I never just marketed my company. A lot of people didn't know that I worked for a home care company. They knew Jessica Solomon from Live Home and like, oh my God, she's an amazing connector. I don't know what she really does. I know she's something to do with seniors, but she's an amazing connector, because the reality of the situation is people only needed us or me when they needed me. And it was really, I was always on the periphery of a crisis that was happening. You know, somebody was hospitalized, somebody had an event, somebody got a diagnosis of dementia. Somebody's becoming more frail. They need to be moving. Somebody, you know, is maybe a widow now and, you know, looking for senior living, or looking for more home care because they need help because their spouse died. These are all reasons why some people would engage with me, but I really was always just on the periphery, kind of waiting for that crisis. So in the meantime, I just had to stay front of mind to everybody else. And how I did that and how I always stayed in the radar is I did two things. I was constantly connecting professionals with each other. And I also, what was a real game changer for me was when I started doing these partner spotlights. And every month I would pick another partner and I would highlight them. This is what we're doing now. I work for Illuminate now. We didn't talk about that, but we'll get into that. But I work for Illuminate Bank, and I do business development for a lender who is hyper focused in the senior space, because we have products that are specific for seniors. So, but what we do is we are our referral partners, or our partners in care, or our partners in our village. They come from all different. It's real estate agents that have the SRES designation. We've certainly focused on senior certified advisors, long-term care insurance, assisted living, home care companies, geriatric care managers, fiduciaries, anybody that's kind of in that ecosystem we're networking with, because we're trying to get in front of them to exchange information on what we do. And we're also connecting them with other resources to help them be a stronger advocate in the senior market and the senior living market. So what this does, what this partner spotlights does, it kind of shows people who we're connected with. We start getting connected to their smaller ecosystem or their network of referring partners or partners in care. When I post something like this on LinkedIn, I look at all our mutual connections on LinkedIn and I tag all those people, so it gives them even more exposure. And then this goes on some of our social media channels. But what it does is it shows the people that we respect and that we're affiliated with, and it just keeps expanding our network from there. Here's one that I used to do. If there's time at the end, I will show you my own passion project that I've been working on a few years called Next Best Home. And sometimes you can make these partner spotlights. It doesn't really have to be about, I know the print is small in here. It doesn't really have to be what they're doing for a living. It does give this person a plug. It's my friend Giovanni. He's director of wellness at Oak Cottage, which is a memory care community in Santa Barbara, California. And kind of give them an opportunity to say, how did you get into your profession? But like, what's your favorite movie? What book are you reading right now? What gets you up in the morning? What's your favorite, if you were a dog, what kind of dog would you be? And it really just makes people more human, because we really we do business with people every day, and it's nice to know what they do and how they do in this. But we're in a people business, and you really want to get you want to see their depth. And I keep going back to, when I think about partner spotlights, People magazine, people, that's what we're all about, right? Because we wanted to see inside people's lives, and it was relatable, and it would resonate with us. And don't you want to know the type of person that's taking care of seniors in a community? So, and these people don't really get out of the building. So highlighting them in their community and giving them a little bit of a spotlight really does go a very long way. Uh, um, so, when we think about the people that we are looking to get a business from and referrals from, we kind of go a little bit outside the box. So one of my referral sources that I was always trying to get in front of was estate planning attorneys. Now, not every estate planning attorney, because I don't want to deal with a new estate planning attorney that's dealing with young families, because typically they're not dealing with the people that are in crisis or necessarily needed home care. But what I did was I would look for, obviously, networking opportunities and as much one-on-one lunches or going to people's office and exchange information. But I knew that there was going to be attorneys at probate court every Thursday, which is right across the street from the building that our office. And so every Thursday morning I would go in. I would have, because attorneys are usually in kind of muted or subdued colors, I would go in with a very bright pink shirt or blazer, and I would sit in the back in the middle of the court. So every time they had to walk back to the seats, they would be lined up and see me. If the bailiff wasn't yelling at me to get off my phone at that time, because I wasn't supposed to be. But what it did was I kind of saw the attorneys that were in circulation. I could speak to the case that they were on. I could, a lot of attorneys would go to coffee right afterwards at the coffee shop right next to it. So it was like kind of being in the radar. And also I was the only one from home care that was there. Nobody from home care was going to probate. You do get an occasional attorney real estate agent that's trying to focus on probate. But being there and being consistent and building relationships with fiduciaries and other people in that courtroom that are looking for business themselves, it's such a good place to place yourself. Attorneys are pretty traditional and formal still, and a lot of them like to go to court. So there will be attorneys, but you can also go to probate online, and you could also kind of, just like we're now, and just watch probate and see all the attorneys that are there and showing up and their names, and then start kind of investigating that way. But that's a really good way to see attorneys that are active in the community and kind of get an idea what their cases are, or what fiduciaries are doing, and fiduciaries and what real estate they're handling as well. So you want to really play the long game when you're making referrals to people. So here's something that I would do with a competitor or a competing company or business. I would get a phone call from a family that had a family member that was in a skilled nursing facility. They may have had to do rehabilitation. This is what typically happens: is somebody will be, it could be an operation from a hip or broken or something happened, and they have to go to a skilled nursing facility or for some rehabilitation. And when they get there, nobody really knows how long you're going to be there sometimes. So they'll say, well, figure 4 to 6 weeks. And then it's like 2 weeks later, and they're telling the family we're working on discharge in the next couple days, and the family's freaking out because they're like, no, we're not ready. Well, you might not be ready, but everybody else in this skilled nursing facility and your parent who's not compliant with the rehabilitation is, we're ready. So, hi, Mark. So, you really don't always know. And even though the family was calling, or they were given my name to help them with the transition back to home for home care, in my heart of hearts, I always talk to somebody that, like, they were my friend or they were a family, and I always try to do the right thing. And I said, listen, this is what's happening, and your family member's plateauing, and they can't stay there longer in skilled nursing, because if they do, that's like fraudulent. That's insurance fraud, because they're not progressing. They've capped out, and this is why they're giving you this information. This is why they're arranging for discharge. And people, discharge planners, they would call me in to talk to families when I was already there talking to another family, not because it was a potential case for me. They just wanted me to explain to the families going on, because they weren't listening to the discharge planner. They couldn't hear them. They're like, we're not ready. I don't know what I'm going to do with my parent. I don't know what, and so this is how they're trying to introduce them. Well, they have to go home. They have to have some care. This is Jessica from a home care company. But what I did to try to really help the family understand what was going on, so they can feel empowered and make an informed decision, I would give them a competitor of mine, and I'd say, listen, I'm gonna give you the number, or if it's okay with you, I'm gonna have Peggy, placement company, call you, because this is the time where you really need to decide whether you're gonna take your parent home, or you're gonna place them, or you need to get an education, because this might not be, there could be another event around the corner. So listen, this is your time. You have a couple weeks to play with. You need to know what all your options are, just so you can go forward, you can make a good decision. So I would have the placement agency engage and talk to the family, and then we were both working our pipeline together, because the family was going to go either way. The family was going to have to place someday, or they're going to try home care, or it was, it's going to go left or it's going to go right. But you might as well have a partner that you're working with, so that you can kind of stay connected with the family and understand what their decision process is and where they're going. So that helps you manage your pipeline better too. There's a company, Mark and I had met this woman a few months ago in Santa Cruz. Her name is Kathy Gomes, and she created a moving game plans company. She's
Kathy's in our group.
Okay, so those are some of the things that where, Kathy, obviously she's a competitor, she's another real estate agent, but she's in Santa Cruz, and this is a value add, giving families, if this is something that they're struggling with or something like that, is like, it's just a value add to give to the families. Like, you might want to consider this. I mean, I think that this is a hard thing for people to do with the downsizing and getting rid of their products. There's also a company called Divvy Master that helps people, not only to divvy up their products, but also helps families kind of allocate what's in the house online with other family members, so they can maybe pick and choose what they want or what the family should get rid of. So I've known that guy for years, Divvy Master.
Divvy Master?
Divvy Master. I'll send you his contact information. It's interesting. The guy invented two really crappy, like, novelty gifts. Like, I don't know if you guys remember back in the day, Spencer's in the mall. It's just junk. Like,
Yes.
yeah, he had these junky products, like a basketball hoop you put in your room, or like this, in Road Rage LA in the 80s, it was a thing. Instead of getting mad at somebody, you'd hit this something that was mounted on your dashboard that would say profanities, like really just stupid, gimmicky products. But he said, I must have filled up 2 landfills with the crap that I invented, and now I want to help people get rid of their crap. I don't want to create more landfills. So he created Divvy Master. Nice guy. So marketing at senior fairs, I've been on senior fair committees. I've been a vendor and everything like that. And I know Julie and I had talked about it one day, But I always find to be better being the networker. If you're going to have a booth and you're going to be a vendor, make sure you have one or two people with you to help you. You definitely need to work the room. You know, it's really the value of going to senior fairs is about the vendors. It's not necessarily about the people that show up, because it's probably like the biggest group of like scavengers ever, because they just want their freebies and things like that. So I don't find a lot of value in the senior fairs. You might find differently, but it was really about being a networker there, connecting others, and also having somebody else work that booth with you. So at least you can go around and answer if there's multiple people that have questions. So keep playing that connector, make that your brand. So it is never too late to say thank you. I mean, even if you say at a later date, or it's just never too late. And what I got in the habit of doing is either right after a meeting with somebody, um immediately after, like if I, going back to my car after lunch or something, I immediately on my cell phone would send a thank you note. I would just get that out of the way. And if it was, I wanted to do a written note, which I don't like to do because I don't have very nice handwriting, but written letters today go such a long way because people don't do it enough. And it's such a lovely touch to do and thank somebody for their time, and also to mention something about that conversation that you had, just to know that they listened. Because here's the thing, and this is being into me as a salesperson. Um, as when you're having a conversation with somebody, I'm kind of having that surface convo, but I'm also looking for the nuggets when we're having a conversation. And the nugget may not have anything to do with that person's profession or my profession, but it might be something that they need, or I don't care if they're looking for another dry cleaner or a gift for a kid's party that weekend. It's just the fact that you listened. And so what that does is it's creating you need to always find a way to create value no matter what it is. And when you're creating value, whether you're showing them somebody that you listen to them and you're giving them a resource, that's right off the bat, you're demonstrating capability. That builds trust, and that advances the process, that advances the relationship. So creating value is saying it could be anything, just to show that you are listening to them. And that's what develops trust between people. And advancing the process is always think advancing a process, always a time and a date commitment. So that's when somebody's time and a date where they're committing to meet again, or getting you that document that you need, or something like that. Like it's advancing the process, like what time and what date should I expect that? So that they know that you're going to be coming around on that particular date, or that you're going to be meeting again, or setting up, or inviting them to an event or whatever that might be. So we talk about like highlighting your partners and also kind of the people within your company is always giving those shout outs and showing the confidence and goodwill and I can't say it right now, so I'm not going to reciprocating. And then often what that gave me, it was giving me an opportunity where people just always wanted to naturally give you the spotlight too. There's so many people that I get to on Mark's podcast. Mark has a podcast on the Mark. And we have last few months, we've had incredible speakers in the senior living ecosystem. Very trusted advisors, people that have been around for years. And then some of those people come back around and like, well, Jessica, we have a women's group and we would really like to get you like on our podcast. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. This is kind of like, this is my break today. This is like where I'm opening up and being on video in front of people. So hopefully I'll get on those podcasts, but people will reciprocate. And that's what really becomes part of people highlighting each other. It makes perfect sense for you all to highlight each other and even interview each other on podcasts, especially if you're in different areas and locations, because you're not really competing in that sense. And you all have a lot of examples and sharing of best practices to share with each other. You also come in different communities. And everybody has different resources in different communities. So sharing spotlighting other people or identifying when somebody shares a resource and you want to shout them out for that. I encourage that, and also to tag other people within your network or within your company so that they get optimized, especially if you're doing it on social media. So I'm just kind of wondering, from the group is if anybody's familiar with you're supporting organizations like the Five Wishes. Is everybody familiar with Five Wishes and advanced directives?
Yeah, I am, and do you guys know about Five Wishes?
I don't know about the Five Wishes.
So-
I know.
I do. Yeah.
Corrected, yeah, go ahead, Jessica.
Okay, so there is always, putting it in front of your clients, around your clients, but the other thing is people that are trying to get advanced directives and their Five Wishes out, it's really important. So if you have local companies or even maybe assisted livings that are communities that are trying to get out this information, it's good for you to partner with them to get the information out, because a lot of these companies and a lot of people that are in these, it's typically in a nonprofit that are trying to do this, they don't have the outreach, they don't have the marketing, they don't necessarily have the time. So if you're pairing up and marketing for these people with these people, so an example would be is I was always trying to get into, when you could back in the day, get in front of skilled nursing, discharge planners and skilled nursing. You can't just keep visiting them and not have anything to give to them. And, the administrators didn't really particularly like when you're bringing in the donuts and the mochas and stuff and all that stuff. You weren't really you weren't creating value. But what I would do is I would take somebody who is trying to get the Five Wishes into the community, or I would take somebody from a senior daycare who really didn't have the network, who didn't have the marketing experience, and I would take them and do the introductions for them to these different skilled nursing facilities, so that I had something of value, because they really didn't care about the article of interest I was bringing in. You need opportunities to stay in people's radar. So if there are these local senior daycares, that's another one too, to kind of get them back out in the radar and get them and help them with marketing. It's nice to pair up with them and maybe do a marketing day with them.
Jessica, go over real quickly what Five Wishes is.
Well, Five Wishes has to do, it's really what people are kind of, I'd rather kind of give you the link to break it down, but Five Wishes is kind of what you're gonna explain or give, or I think you have it set up with the hospital that explains like whether or not you want to be resuscitated, or if you're in different levels of medical needs, or it could be if you are going to lose capacity, or if you're going to be in resuscitation or not resuscitated. But it all has to do with what you wish is going to happen to you or not happen to you, or who will be helping you make those determinations or has the right to help you make the determinations of whether or not they're pretty much going to like continue to continue life. Is that or
Yeah,
to end your
Yeah,
life?
it's fivewishes.org or similar, and they provide documentation that you can fill out yourself and then have it in place. So,
Right,
and
but-
I'll do a special Five Wishes, and this whole section you have right here is like a whole class all by itself, which is a really good idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of like a little bit out of the game, but Five Wishes, and here we had the Five Wishes, and then some people do like the pulse. So some hospitals have the pulse. So I don't want to go. I don't want
Depends on
to.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
the difference is the Post is a legal document and Five Wishes is not.
Right. So then some places are not necessarily recognizing. It depends on what's on file with that particular hospital and what their policies are. But the Five Wishes at least gets people talking about it and gets them grounded. I mean, there's a lot of, end of life planning, and people don't want to talk to him. So the Five Wishes kind of starts engaging people in that conversation. And it's nice, it's like a platform to kind of get the conversation started, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
So the connectors advantage. So being great in senior services isn't about who you know, it's about who trusts you to show up. So again, keep going back to, I didn't sell home care. I sold community. I sold resources. I got people together. I collaborated with people that needed business. And that's what I needed to do to stay in the radar, because again, I'm always waiting for like the ball to drop. And so, you had to be omnipresent all the time in all these different groups, whether it be legal, financial, or it was medical, or it was community-based services. That's a lot of different places and a lot of different referral sources that you're in. But the way you can kind of keep that all together is if you're kind of playing that connector. That's really kind of the glue that's keeping everybody together. I don't know, I haven't seen Anne, but I'm just loving all her nods on this phone call. Thank you. So trust, transparency, partnerships, that's your sustainable growth plan. So be the connector, and that's how you can separate yourself from the rest in the crowd. So, okay, so I always say this to people. I mean, if there's anything that you remember today, this is like I think one of the best things that I can offer you today on like a kind of a going forward plan for marketing is you're gonna double, quadruple your reach, if you are marketing with somebody together. So I always did about at least 4 to 5 days of the month where I was marketing side by side with somebody. Now that might have been from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night, or it could have been from like 12 to 4. But what we did was we picked dates. We had a general idea of where our strengths were and where our connections were. We might do a pre-call time in the office together where we kind of do like a pre-call mapping of what we wanted to get accomplished that day, because you have to be a little strategic about like your town locations, drive time, things of that nature. But what we do is like maybe somebody was stronger in legal and I was stronger in financial and or assisted living or whatever, or we would even have like places that we'd stop in. But we would have an agenda for the whole day from every hour on the hour of what we were going to do and who we were going to visit with. We'd have a coffee, we'd have a lunch, we'd have a visit someplace or something. And so as that day was, we would share each other's calendars, obviously, so we could fill in each other's gaps. Or somebody can I was me, because I was always crazy about like controlling the day, but it was really kind of filling gaps. I would, in home care, I did really well in my market, and the company said, well, let's get somebody struggling, or we have a new person. We're going to send them out to Jessica. I go, don't send them in my market. All I do is hang out with my friends all day. Let me go to their market so I could kind of network with them and kind of watch the process. They're not going to learn much from me. And it would be like 2 months ahead of the game. And I'd be, well, what do you got on the calendar? And we'd be like a week before and they wouldn't have anything. So I'd be like 5 states away and fill up their calendars just by doing cold calling and stuff like that. I really feel like it's not an easy thing to do. So if you can do it with somebody else and you can share the marketing, if you could share the scheduling and that day, map it out together, I mean, you're totally winning. Also, the meeting in Mark and I are Provisors. I don't know how many people know or I was in Provisors, Mark's in Provisors. It's a very upscale kind of elevated networking meeting. It's very rich with legal, financial, but you also have real estate agents and a lot of other different professions in there. But what they do is every month they have a meeting with everybody, and then they set up where you have like a troika or maybe a FOICA, but you always have about 3 people that you're going to meet for coffee or lunch or something in that month. And then you all meet again in the big group every month. So you'll always have a troika scheduled that month to get to know some more people, but they do troikas, and it's very smart because three people, that number 3 people is very, very calculating, and it's easier to have conversation flow when you have 3 people. They have 4 people too, but usually there's like crossover talk over, but 3 people. So it's just less intimidating and it's more comfortable. So again, so when you're marketing with one other person, and you're going together to visit somebody, it just makes it more of a more informal, casual, it just makes it more comfortable. I don't know if anybody has experience with that, or has done that. And
No,
I'm
but
kind of
that's an idea. That's
thinking
good to
Ann
know.
did.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd throw in some groups and organizations. I don't know how familiar or not familiar you are with professional fiduciary with professional fiduciaries, but there's PFAC, which is every year there's they switched off. They usually do Northern California one year, Southern California, and sometimes they'll have it in the middle, but it doesn't really work out well. Like Central Coast, they usually do maybe like Monterey or something. Professional Fiduciary Association is not your only association where professional fiduciaries can get their continuing education units, but there's smaller ones throughout California during the year, but this is definitely the biggest and largest. So you have the largest crowd there, and you can see all their members. They also have regional chapters. The reason why I bring this up is because you want to get familiar with these fiduciaries are so connected to these estate planners. They typically almost always at some point will need a real estate agent. I don't know if I'm telling anybody anything new or not. It's more about finding the professional fiduciaries that are actually doing those types of transactions. And that is a very good source. It's not the only source. So you have plenty of seasoned people that are in PFAC, but you also have a lot of newbies. So you're not going to get the newbies in those smaller meetings or when they have the smaller groups that meet for the continuing eds. Those are the ones that like Lake Tahoe and Bahamas and things like that. But like I said, they do have them, and you really kind of want to get a sense of what is that professional fiduciary, like where are they in their particular stage in their career. Because newer professional fiduciaries will really lean on more seasoned professionals that have experience with care management because that's so new to them, resources for home care. So the newer fiduciaries, they could really be somebody that would actually like really lean on you and also market with you because they're looking for more business. So take a look at that. I just threw in Marin County Estate Planning Council. There's a lot of them, but there's always one in each kind of county. And because I would travel regionally, I've been to the ones in the Bay Area and San Jose. They're amazing. They are a plethora of information. Our state planning council here in Santa Barbara is just legal, financial, and if somebody outside of the organization that's going to come in, you have to be invited, and it's a very intimate setting. Not in the Bay Area. Their estate planning councils are really large. There's lots of people. There's people in home care. There's all kinds of resources. So if you've not been to an estate planning council, I really highly recommend for you to go one because if you can get one, definitely in the Bay Area. Village to Village Network. So Village Network, this is transformed over the years, and this is really going to be based on what kind of village is in your community. Some of them are pretty sophisticated. It really depends on the demographics in the area. There could be a lot of people that are more on volunteering for people that don't have a lot of money, and it could be seniors volunteering. There could be other villages that are a little bit more sophisticated, and they might have like check-in systems for people that are solo agers and living alone. They can have maybe seminars, webinars. Maybe they could even have some financial people, pro bono attorneys and things like that. So it really depends on what is in your area, but there's more and more village to villages that are getting more sophisticated and getting more integrated in the communities. And this is where you're going to find villages to villages are really catering towards um, seniors that need support and seniors helping seniors, if that makes sense. There's the I didn't put on caregiver resource center. There's one in every county as well. And again, a caregiver resource center, it really depends on, like in San Diego, it's huge, it's massive. They have financial advisors because they have that built into their program. Santa Barbara is a lot smaller where I am. They don't have people that are helping with financial advisors. So it's really the actual liaison, or maybe the counselor, therapist, or whatever they call them, is kind of really depending on the knowledge that they have in the local community. But caregiver resource centers, I would definitely take a look at that as a resource for you to give to families as well. Aging Life Care Association. So this is geriatric care management, and Aging Life Care Association has really changed over the years. It used to be called GSAM, Geriatric Care American something. It was, or PGCM. It was something completely different. And about a little less than 10 years ago, they changed it to Aging Life Care Association. And these are people that are looking for certification as a geriatric care manager. So there could be gerontologists here. There could be social workers here. There could be people at nursing background. And they have to have a certain amount of, like, I think about 50 hours of work or some type of oversight from an organization or somebody that is part of the Aging Life Care Association. So these are geriatric care managers. There's a lot of them. They're independent, or they work for an organization, could work for a home care organization. There are geriatric care management organizations where there's like 3 to 5 geriatric care managers in that particular company. And what they do is they're like the quarterback of home care. So if the family needs counseling, or there's these geriatric care managers that will just do one time families in crisis, we're going to do one fee. I'm going to ground you. And that could help them with like insurances. That could help with assisted living. That could help with some resources in the community, Alzheimer's Association, dementia care, dementia counseling, maybe neurologists. They're like the quarterback of what the family is going to do in their day-to-day, what's going to be their care plan. So they're assessing the situation, and they're either doing that one time and then giving them the resources. And most of the time they're doing ongoing care management. So that's month to month. And that's might be doctor's appointments. It could be medication management. It could be, we're going to coordinate home care for a while, and then if we reach a certain budget, we got to really start looking, or a level of need, we got to start looking at assisted living. Just like, does anybody, just show of hands, are people familiar with care managers or familiar with ALCA?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so not teaching anything new on that one. Okay, so
No.
here's
Elizabeth, we do have new participants, so I'm sure it's new to some of us.
okay. So I think you're so senior placement, you're familiar with senior advisors. So this is something that's this is a big, long, huge, I mean, I could do a presentation just on this for like the next 5 days. This has evolved so much in the last 30 years. I did an example of Erin Dwyer because she works for a company called Senior Care Authority. Actually, the founder and the first Senior Care Authority office was actually Northern California. Is that right, Mark? It's Fred something.
Our neighbor. Yeah.
Right? So, but so you have different senior care. Fateh, I just did an article of him. I connected him, I think, with Seb Frey recently, and he was, he's in Los Gatos area. Erin's in Missouri, but she's kind of a badass, and this is something to pay attention to, because I never understood why the real estate agents, or realtors didn't see what placement agencies were doing for like the past 30 years. We had a really nice talk. Mark and I spoke with Scott Fisher yesterday. Scott Fisher has a company called Options. He's in Phoenix, Arizona. He was very instrumental and one of the founders of NPRA, which is National Placement something organization, association, it escapes me right now, but what he was trying to do is create higher, what is it? He was trying to create a higher standard and a code of ethics for placement agencies. So
Yeah,
here's the
It
thing.
is.
What's up?
It is created, it is ongoing.
Oh, it's ongoing. Yeah, but this is when it starts. I mean, a long time ago. And you know, if the placement agency industry was following the code of ethics that real estate agents were using, you'd have $1 billion industry spontaneously combust in a New York second, because they are in a lot of ways steering. There could be undue influence, considering there are certainly incentivized. And I would say, I'm going to shot out of the dark here, I'm thinking like over 85%, if not more, placement agencies don't disclose their referral fees. And more than that, the families and the professionals referring placement agencies aren't aware of the referral fees. It's just what it is. It's just a wild, wild west business that has just been going on for a really long time. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just questionable. And so real estate agents have to disclose. Real estate agents are under, they could lose their license under practices that placement agencies, even placement agencies that are ethical, that have a moral compass, I've seen them, they're still making a lot of biased decisions because that's the nature of their business, and there's really nobody calling them on it. And so I see a lot of placement agencies that maybe have learned from somebody and developed bad habits, and they're completely unaware, just like any other business. So, but here's where I really want to hone it in for everybody. This is what's really important about what's happening with this industry. You have a very huge senior placement agency franchise miles, Care Patrol being one of them, which I believe is talking about a partnership with a real estate company. I think it's Keller Williams. I'm not sure. But what you're starting to see in the general marketplace is you're starting to see this cohesion, collaboration amongst companies, because they're seeing where the market's going. This is where the market's going. Erin Dwyer is a perfect example of where the placement agencies are going. They are diversifying. So because of her company, how long she's been doing this, because of how many referrals that she gets on a monthly basis, it makes sense for her to be diversified. So she has on her team, they're doing placement. They also have somebody very focused on downsizing. They have somebody very focused on real estate. And then they also have a care manager. Because if you don't have this built within or baked or built within your team, you really need to have these professionals in your back pocket. And if they're and you should be considering marketing with them or co-marketing with them, because you're either going to go that way. Mark and I had met a real estate agent in Texas, and I do downsizing and I also do placement. It's like I called it a trifecta or a perfecta, because she's hitting it every angle. She's like, I got people that need to be placed and we need to get them out of the house, but they can't necessarily the house. They don't want to sell the house. They want to rent it out, or their family's not ready to sell the house for one or whatever reasons. And she's like, and so I know that I'm not putting any pressure on them, or maybe they'll do the real estate down the road, but they need the help with the placement, the downsides. And so she's hitting it on every angle you could possibly hit it. So if you, like I said, if you don't have somebody that you co-market with in any one of these, or you have somebody that you refer with, I would definitely start looking into it, because if you're not doing this on the real estate end, and if you're not diversifying, or if you're not really showcasing yourself and the partners that you have, and that can actually, if you can't do this, they can, this is definitely happening within the placement industry right now. So,
Jessica, we have a question. What's your question, Bob?
Finally getting to an area where I understand is who these people really work for, because there seems to be an inherent amount of conflict.
Julie, repeat the
that-
question. We can't hear it.
You can talk louder.
Okay, so my question was, and for the presenter too, is how this industry is changing, where it's headed, because I would think that it's starting into this conflict.
We can't hear you.
Okay, we're talking about, Bob's asking about a conflict of interest problem.
That your industry is, who pays for this stuff? Because if the compensation is coming from the senior homes, that is a huge, tremendous conflict of interest. If the payment is coming from the senior or the family doing for the right research, that would be the more appropriate way to be compensated. Because and is there any follow-up to the other thing I've heard about your compensation model is your compensation is about getting them in. But and oftentimes you hear about abuses going on in these homes that they're not well maintained, or they're kind of sold the idea that it's different than what they really found it or really like. So is there any these standards of satisfaction guaranteed back? Is there any kind of a message of this didn't work out well? Because I'll tell you, our seniors are getting abused, and ours doesn't seem that the model doesn't seem to be conducive.
Did you hear that okay?
No.
I kind of vaguely heard, and I just want to, I know Julie and Skip and I have talked about that there's, people that want advanced, they may have the SRES designation and they're advancing, their education with a certified senior advisor. There's also, Senior Real Estate Institute. I mean, I'm not putting promoting them or anything like that, but they kind of created these modules for real estate agents that really want to kind of deep dive and get more information on downsizing. And so if you look at if you look at the SREI website, which they really need to change their cover picture, but you
Yeah.
can look up all the members. You know what I'm talking about, Anne? Do you see, so that picture, that's like, it's horrible. I mean,
Jessica,
but
I'm gonna interrupt. Can you hear me?
yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay. Bob was asking about the conflict of interest for move-ins. So, and the disclosure of how the placement agents are getting paid.
Right. So I mean, this is just kind of like, it's like I said, I'm like, look, I think I just want to kind of digress here. Scott Fisher, he's really been very, he was a solid guy. He created the MPRA for, to help with standards. And even he agrees that for every one wonderful placement agency out there, you probably have 10 to 20 really bad ones. That's what's tough right now, because the really good ones do want regulation, and, but there's nothing really, there's no mandate in place. There's no structure in place to really say you need to disclose. So like I said, it's just what it is. Like nobody's really enforcing that. You have some activity right now going on. Like you have the US Senate opened up an investigation on A Place for Mom, which is an online lead aggregator, like not this past May, but the May
Yeah.
before.
Industry is coming together, and it's morphing and evolving. And Scott is one of the pioneers of that effort.
Yeah, but
So,
he's like, but he
working
even,
with the
yeah, but even he'll tell you it's completely out of hand. Like there's nothing, there's like, it's just too much because there's so many people coming into the marketplace every day. Like it can't be stopped, and that's why you're seeing some things happen a little bit more in legislation, definitely in Aaron state in Missouri, in Minnesota. You have like Arizona that has a little bit more structure to the type of, how these placement agencies are operating, or the online aggregators and what they do have to disclose. But it's just still kind of like a wild piece. So getting back to SREI, if you look at the people that take this course, you can see the members on them. A lot of them are real estate agents. There's definitely some placement agencies, but I would say very heavily real estate agents. And the gal who puts on
Nikki
this,
Buckaloo.
yeah, Buckaloo. She said, people ask me all the time, as a real estate agent, if I'm doing placement, um, you know, can I collect the fees? Well, yeah, of course, because that's an agreement. I mean, I could collect a fee. Anybody can collect a fee from an assisted living if you do a referral. There's no guidelines on that. You don't have to be a real estate agent. You could be anybody, and they'll give you a referral fee. That's kind of like a little loosey goosey too. But her take on it is like, look, I wouldn't do it if I was a real estate agent and I was doing placement. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't take the fee. I would either personally, you could either like you could pair up with a placement agency and then tell the client they're going to get a fee, or say, hey, look, I can give you, I'm not going to tour you because I'm not, but I know these communities, I know this much, and you can do a lot yourself. But are you going to, a placement agency that's really taking the time with the family is kind of, there's a lot of hand holding that's going on, and there's like the time and attention to actually doing tours and things like that. There's a lot of work involved in that. So some real estate agents go like, I'll do it and I won't charge for it, or I'll do it and I'll charge for it. There's a lot of confusion about that space right now because we just don't have enough structure around it.
This might be a good time to point out, as a segue, there's another it's actually a networking session coming up at 1 o'clock. I put it in the chat, but they're going to be talking about various designations and certifications and what they mean. And this lady, I met her on another SRES networking call a few weeks ago, and this will be my first time. I don't know what to expect, but it sounds like it might be kind of interesting. And if you can hang around and jump on the call, you'd be welcome to do that. So take a look at it.
Yeah, you put the link in the chat. That's a good thing.
It's there, yeah.
Did anybody else have any more questions about this?
No, this is good.
Okay.
Good stuff, Jessica.
Okay, thanks. So here's your like, okay, whenever I just like, couldn't generate anything, I was like losing my mojo, and my sales mentor, he said, just go back to the basics. And I said, what I would do was, I would go back to, the salespeople. I'm a salesperson. I'm looking for sales. I'm going to go to the other salespeople. So I went to the marketers at assisted living. I went to the admissions people in the skilled nursing facilities. I was going to those independent fiduciaries or those, new state planners. And I would go to the people that were trying to sell something. So assisted living communities, skilled nursing communities, you could always get a tour. They are always willing to tour you.
CCRCs too.
Well, that would fall under assisted living and skilled nursing. Yes. So CCRC is a continuing care retirement community. It's assisted living that also has a skilled nursing component. So either skilled nursing component in the community, or it's a standalone. Or it could be an extension of a hospital, like a rehab. So, but they're always willing to give you tours. And you can get so here's a mistake. In the beginning, I would go to skilled nursing and I would go to there's different skilled nursings. There's some that are very heavily Medicare rehab, and they're kind of churning and burning the people. That's, they're going to make the most money doing that. And then you have your skilled nursing facilities that are long-term care, Medi-Cal. It's pretty much everybody is going to stay there for the rest of their lives and doesn't have any money, and they're not going to be discharged, not going to home, and they didn't have a home. So you have to really understand, what is your level of estate planning attorney, how seasoned they are, skilled nursing, am I going to the right place, assisted living, am I going to the right assisted living? But I really do think that skilled nursing, assisted living is one of those things when you're co-marketing, go with a couple of people. These skilled nursing facilities are having networking events again at their communities. Assisted living, if you and a couple other professionals can curate an event, a networking event or a webinar that's going to bring in potential residents, they love that. And they're going to help you. Now you have a built-in venue for your networking event. Now you have a built-in venue for this webinar, and they're going to help you with the marketing. They're going to put some marketing dollars into that event too. So, I mean, that is a very, a good way to kind of, get in front of a lot of people, potential people that are going to be moving into assisted living or learning about it. And you'll be getting in front of seniors and adult children. So you can get in front of a mix. Again, creating the mixers, presentations, those fiduciaries, sometimes fiduciaries and estate plannings, they're having networking meetings too, or offering, you can offer to have a networking event at their place. Senior placement agencies, they're always looking for sales. It's definitely somebody I would pair up with, and home care providers. So, home care providers. When you think about it, like we would be, this was a real big beef of mine. So and so family is canceling services. They're canceling in 2 weeks because they're placing. What do you mean they're placing? Well, they're placing because they don't have enough money. They don't want to spend the money. They're going to place. They're going to sell the house, or they're gonna or move out of the house, whatever that be, because they're not gonna be doing home care anymore. It's reaching $6,000 a week. Why are they gonna do that? They're still at a place in their life or in their level of need where they can they're gonna go to dementia care, or they're still maybe mobile enough that they can go into assisted living, and now they're open to it because you don't want to miss your window to go into assisted living. That I hate that. That stinks when somebody like is social enough and they want to go to assisted living and then they miss their window because they said, I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna wait. Like this woman, my friend, she is assisted living, she's a sales and marketer for assisted living, and this woman was wheeling around, on a walker. She's like 96 years old, and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna need this someday. And it's like, it's today. Today's the day. Mark joked, and she goes, maybe she said Sunday. No, no, like today's the day. And so home care providers, they have a sense of when people are reaching that level of need where then they can't stay at home anymore, or the family's not going to pay for these outrageous amounts. When I started in 2004, home care, I would go up to people in the skilled nursing and I said, well, do you want to keep your mother in the skilled nursing for $250 a day on a hospital bed in a hospital setting? Or for another $50 a day, for $300 a day, you could take your mom home with a live-in caregiver. Well, they went with the caregiver because the mom's going to stay home in the skilled nursing for the rest of life, or could go back home for $50 more a day. That was a no-brainer. Now you're going to have two caregivers. If it's 24-hour care, it's going to cost $1,200 or more a day. Like that's the cost now. So home care providers, they used to have clients. I mean, we had clients for 18, 20 years sometimes. It was crazy. Your average length of stay for the caregiving now, 6 months. 6 months. So, or, not much longer, less. If you can get the year mark, that's pretty good. But it's so expensive. And we've lost more than half of our caregiving staff. I just got a flyer in my mailbox yesterday. I'm a little curious of how it came to me, but they're hiring for caregivers, and they're saying, oh, if you're a compassionate person, when I started the business, you have to have 2 years of caregiving experience in order for them to hire you. Now you just have to have a beating heart and maybe care about people. I mean, it's just what it is. They just don't have enough people, caregivers, care facilitators, nurses to go around. So what I'm trying to say is people are living longer. They're outliving their retirement. They are getting into home care is happening when they're like later in the game, crisis, and they're not staying on services very long. So it would make sense for you to kind of penetrate in the home care sector, because you will know people that need care. And then these are the salespeople that need help, getting certain people on services, but also have a lot of insight to, so conflict of interest is like how much insight, but they can be a resource, because they know what's going on. Those care managers know what's going on with the clients on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. So that's an opportunity to get someplace in people before they have to make the transition into senior living or a higher level of need, if that makes sense. And there concludes like my first presentation. I don't know if Mark's still on here.
There was a lot of great nuggets in that, Jessica.
Oh, thank you. And I just, I wanted to go a little bit back and digress on, what I'm doing now. And if there's a couple of minutes, I just want to show you my passion project that I've been working on. But Mark, I saw Mark Myman in 2020. We were in lockdown, right? And I started seeing Mark do posts on bridge loans, which we really didn't need in my community, but I was learning about like bridge loans for seniors. And I said, look, I just been in this industry so long, people are needing money. I know that this is going to be an area of focus for this, my generation, like Gen X and the children of, I call them baby bloomers or baby bloomers because they're the children of the baby boomers. And they're going to be looking for money because it's such a spoiled crowd to begin with. And then the fact that they're so entitled. If you thought the generation was entitled before, yeah, the boomer generation was entitled, but they actually got the inheritance from their parents. This next generation's not getting it because those boomers spent their parents' inheritance and got the parents home. And now that's going to be needing for their care. If you were born in the year 2000, it's almost a guarantee you're going to live to 100. I mean, that's the way, people are aging now. There's a lot of longevity out there. So in 2020, I saw Mark post and he was talking about that he had curated. He said, I've been the bridge loan guy for Compass Real Estate. He was a bridge loan guy for Compass, and he goes, and what I started seeing was that there's so many products that we had used for other people that just seemed to kind of correlate for seniors. And so he started curating all these products that could be used for seniors, and for these situations that were coming up, because he saw how the market was trending with seniors. And he said, and we just kept in touch, and I would just keep asking him questions. And like last August, he said, look, I have all these products and I'm just trying to get into the senior market. He goes, you seem to know the senior market and you have all the connections. So we paired up, and that's when I started doing business development for Mark. And that's how I connected with Julie and Skip. Oh, and Julie, your name gets tossed around a lot out there too. So kudos to you and everything that you've done and the outreach. It's amazing. And if we have a couple of minutes later, I'll kind of show you guys what my passion project is and how it can relate to real estate, if that's okay. Do you have time for that, Julie?
Yeah.
Okay, so gonna stop sharing for a second and get my bearings. Okay. So this is what I've been working on for about 5 years. It's called Next Best Home. I have, what I kind of do is kind of showing my network of people, and excuse the design, we're still kind of working out, but kind of like in the ecosystem, real estate. I have a real estate license. I just play a referral agent. This is a local person. This is John Stammering, who's more commercial, if anything else, but he really understands numbers well, and he's very unattached, doesn't really do residential, but really can, is a family man and will really talk to somebody on like whether it makes sense or not for them to sell, rent, and kind of talk them through that process. Michael is a nationwide real estate referral agent. He's very tied to like Mike Ferry and Tom Ferry, and he does national referrals. But I also have people that do insurance for Medicare, have financial advisors, lending options. So we got some reverse mortgage, we have peer-to-peer lending, we got Mark on here. So it kind of takes you through end-of-life doulas. So kind of like a trusted network. And my point is people want to make, they want to be empowered and make informed decisions. So when you give them options, they feel like they're in control. So you don't just give them one person, you give them a couple different people. They might want a male, they want one female. I have financing solutions here. I kind of just embedded Mark's website or our website onto here, and it gives you basically our website on here. So our seniors for financing or senior financing solutions for seniors, kind of like tongue-tied right now, but that's Mark's website or our website. Have a blog, I frequently asked questions, but let me go back to the front page because I'm going to show you we're really testing this in Central Coast, California. So if I come to Santa Barbara, and it shows me all the care homes in Santa Barbara. What's different about this and what's different about A Place for Mom is because I have the ranges, I have how much it costs. I'm showing whether or not they have a vacancy, do they do short-term respite, and will they take pets? You know, so we're working out some kinks, but that's the whole idea, like kind of like your Expedia and Zillow. It's the same reason why MLS was created for the real estate market. We needed transparency. So there's no transparency.
This is great.
Thank
I love
you.
that.
We're still tweaking out, but here's what I really want to show. This is where here's my homepage. I have the blogs. I try to highlight people. This family has a really unique compound in Paso Robles. There's 4 different actual facilities. I think they hold like 12 each, but they have something really interesting that they're doing. It's like one of a kind. I try to do articles of interest, like in lieu of flowers. He's a florist here in town, and he's like, yeah, there's less funerals now. There's definitely less burials, but then there's more celebrations of life. And so start talking about, you know, introducing the ideas of death doulas to people. I talk about transparency a lot. You know, video killed the radio star, but transparency is about to kill outdated models like your Place for Moms and stuff like that. I do believe that because transparency is what's going to win in this new market with this new generation of adult children. But here's my click here for Care Concierge. And so this is your concierge. This is like, my dad just got hospitalized. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I think I have to sell the home. My dad is out from hospital. I think we need to sell the home for assisted living. Watch my typos. Where do I start? You're not alone. Here's step by step. Let's clarify your needs. Here's, you know, different types of assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing. This is how much that it really costs, $4,500 to $10,000 a month. Here's some, if you need to sell the home, you might not need to sell the home. Call Mark Myman from Luminate Bank. Talk for the real estate care consultant, Jessica Solomon, elder care strategist, licensed real estate referral agent, and goes on and on and on and on. Here's now's a good time to gather durable power of attorney, advanced health directive, any trust. Do you need help with that? We have Juliana Malice. But these are just suggestions. But the point is to give people a playbook. People don't know what to do. They're paralyzed.
Yeah, you're showing up on CAC. That's important.
What's that?
you showing up on the chat search.
Yeah, this is the
Yeah.
chat search that I have built into Next Best Home.
Nice.
And it's pulling from what I feed it, and it's also pulling from the trusted advisors that I have on the site. But the point is, it's like, it's just a suggestion, right? Just get them, like, I was in home care for like 15 years, and my mother, I lost my mother in 2018. But when it was happening, I was calling all my friends and asking what to do. And they're like, what do you mean? Why are you calling me? Like, what do you tell me what to do? Like, you know this. And it's like, but I didn't, because nobody knows what to do when your parent's dying. It doesn't matter what it doesn't want knowledge, but you need to be grounded. And I think that's what's really, after all the years of doing this and seeing how fragmented the industry is, and who do I go and where do I start? What do I do? And it's just like, well, here's a playbook. At least this gives you, something to think about and what your next step is. And you can go with these suggestions or not. But I know, like, I'm helping people, and this is exactly who I was when I was selling home care. Look, it might not be $1 in my pocket, but like, this is what you need.
Yeah. No, good stuff. We're gonna have to wrap it up though, Jessica. So much good nuggets there.
Thank you.
And does anybody have any questions? Any parting questions, comments?
How do we get the playbook?
Oh, how to get the playbook? Well, it's on my website, so, I mean, the idea is, I'm in Central Coast, but the idea is to expand. I really just want to stay focused in California. But the idea would be to
Yeah.
expand in other markets, maybe art markets that you guys are in, and team up, because you
Yeah.
couldn't even fathom how much work it takes to get this information, and I'm one person, so it's like you have to partner. And and I really believe that when like real estate agents that are penetrating themselves more, if you're focused on seniors, you got to live on the periphery of what's happening when there's an episode or an event. And this is the way to do it, is to get very deep into this crowd.
I have something to say. Thank
Jelly!
you. Yeah. Hi. Now this is how I look.
Warms my heart.
Just for you. First of all, are you from New York? On the
Yes.
East Coast? I knew it because I heard you say call and walk. I'm from Jersey. I heard you say call and fall. I said, wait a minute. She's from New York. Anyway, I happen to be downsizing personally right now. My house is on the market, and I just put it in the chat. So if anybody knows of anybody, I'm downsizing like somebody. I heard somebody use this phrase. I'm downsizing to right size. I'm not quite ready for assisted living or anything like that. I don't need any help at all. But it is time for me to downsize myself. I'm not going to wait, like you said, till the children have to do it. And Julie knows I've been talking to her about my situation for a while now, but it's on the market. And my thing is, what is the I'm 75, so what is the
75 is the new 59.
Yeah, yeah, right, exactly. So what is the if you're not quite ready for assisted living or memory care or any of that, what is a resource for senior living where you don't, I don't want the rules and all of that
I think
stuff.
you're
I'm not
like,
ready
I
for
think
any
you're
of that. I just
looking
need an
for like,
apartment.
yeah, 55 and plus. And like there are websites that actually, there's a website called like 55 plus or something.
Right, I've been there.
Right,
And
yeah.
mom, place for mom and all of that. I've
No,
seen.
no. I don't think a place for mom is really focused on assisted living. 55 and plus is focused on more of those kind of independent settings. So I mean, I think that that's like kind of like your jam. I know Seb Frey just had a recent client that they moved into like a 55 plus community. So I think that's what you're looking for. And sometimes they're like gated, sometimes they're like the trilogies would be like a 55 plus kind of community. I don't know if you know what a trilogy resort is. They're usually on a golf course, but there's no care functions. There's no
Right.
support functions for that. So but 55 plus, I think, look that up. I think it's actually Qual 55 plus is the website. But
Yeah,
if you
I've been on there. A lot of those places also have a lot of rules. Ugh. So, the Village Joseph, that's a good idea. I'm gonna look back into that because this is about the fourth invitation I've had to come to the villages. I know a
Oh,
couple of
Village,
people that
Village.
live there, and everybody's like, "Come on up here with us," So I'm gonna look into that again.
Yeah.
So like.
I mean, I'm
we're
happy to
gonna
dive on
together
you if you want to contact me directly.
Conversation.
Yes, please. Well, let's do that. I don't
I'll
want
get you.
I'm sorry,
Because,
Julie.
okay, so you have your mobile home in a mobile home community, so do I.
Okay.
So moving to another type of community, it's gonna be so much, we have so many rules already that we've already lived with mobile home communities.
Right.
Everything else is gonna be a piece of cake. And
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Well,
Nice
thank
to
you
meet
so
you,
much. And
Shelley.
Jessica, I'm gonna contact you offline.
Absolutely. Thank you.
all right, you guys. Oh my gosh. This was just, now you've created a whole nother couple of subjects, Jessica, that
I
we're gonna have
did?
to make a whole new presentations about.
Thank you. I just was like, I was hoping that I had something to share of value and like again, I don't really want to put like there's some really solid senior placement agency out there. There really are, but the reality is like the industry is getting so polluted that I feel bad for like the real strong ones out there that are really ethical. Because I see a lot of like very unethical things going on, but hopefully it'll, there'll be a shakeout.
We do have huge effort to elevate that whole situation, and we are bringing the industries together.
Mhm.
So Scott is a part of that, and we're connected with Scott already.
Yes, yes, yeah, that's cool.
So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much. Again, we are recorded for today. So the recording will be available. We'll have Jessica send me a set of slides, and then I can send those out so everybody can have them. And then I'll put all of her information in the bulletin for you guys' resources as well. So is there any comments, any last minute comments or questions? I really appreciate everybody being here. I really appreciate Jessica and all this information, and Mark and everybody. I'm just gonna say, all right, everybody, we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Bye.